years ago, when City went to the Bernabeu, and for me personally, I don't know what everyone else was saying at the time. It was at that point where I said, "Yeah, this guy is the best midfielder in the world," because he went to the Bernabeu and dominated Real Madrid. I think he scored a penalty as well. They won the game. But he dominated him. Like, it was a masterclass performance. And you don't do that at the Bernabeu. It doesn't happen often. Those kind of performances are legendary. Think about Henry at the Bernabeu 2006, for example. What Messi's done there with Barcelona. De Bruyne, 2 years later, he's done exactly the also as the Etihad, but he's done exactly the same. He was on another level, especially in that first half. He was on another level. And those 2 years, especially since then to now, his level, other than injuries, his level has not dropped. And of course, yeah, we can commend the likes of Modric, etc., and those individual moments. And we know he's a great player, legendary. But in the last 2 years, there has not been a better midfielder on the planet than Kevin De Bruyne. It hasn't been.
Can I go back at you? I actually disagree slightly with what you just said. 2019-20, that's when he dropped that unbelievable game against Real Madrid. I agree with you. I looked at this guy and I was like, wow, he gives me Gerrard vibes mixed with like Beckham vibes with the ability to whip a ball in. He's complete as a number 10. And then if you remember, he picked up that injury. And I actually think over the last 2 seasons, the last season in particular, and then even this season, the first half of the year, I think it took him a while to get back. And if you've noticed, Pep has been moving him closer and closer and closer to goal. He isn't really playing as like your prototypical number 8 anymore. I think he's almost as close to a forward. But the last few months since he's come back into the team and Gundogan has been kicked out, I think he's returned to that level where you're looking at this guy as one of the elite midfielders on the planet. I completely agree.
On top of that, Leah, it's the big games. So even like in a season, he might miss half the games of the season, but it's the big game. He always turns up. He goes to Stamford Bridge. He turns up. The Manchester Derby, he turns up. Liverpool, he turns up. Like, the guy is a big game player.
What are you saying, Vitor, as a City fan on KDB?
And the thing with KDB, if you want to hold it against him, how the start of the season was, fair enough. But he's clearly the engine to the club. And we could argue between him and Mahrez, he's our most clinical player. And I felt so bad for him these last couple seasons without Aguero, without someone that could be the person finishing all the meals that he's been putting on a plate. So for KDB to be doing what he's doing, he gets huge ratings for me, and he doesn't miss the big games at all. I think what was clearly shown from this game was he gave us the first goal, took command of the midfield, and he didn't stop. What Pep's had to do as well is manage his time. He's had to manage his time because, unfortunately, past seasons at this stage of the year, he's fallen off because he's been exhausted. He's been used so heavily.
I need to. Sorry. Wait.
No, go ahead, KJ. Go ahead, KJ.
Oh yeah, I need to do this. Hand on heart. Hand on heart. Everyone from Vibes FC, Midnight Vibes knows this, and everyone in this channel knows this. I wholeheartedly apologize for ever saying Paul Pogba over Kevin De Bruyne. I wholeheartedly apologize for ever saying that.
I forgot you even thought. You know what I was gonna say, KJ. I was gonna say I apologize.
Wait, hold on, no. I need to get this in because Liaz and Terry. I don't know if Neeks and KJ are part of it, but I just know Liaz and Terry because I was on that stream. I remember when there was even talk, and this was when KDB was coming back from injury. There was talk where a certain man from Portugal was basically saying,
I apologize. Give me the floor. Give me the floor, Daniel.
I was waiting. I was kind of waiting my turn as to when you guys would speak. I wanted to say this about KDB. I was talking about it during the game today. And listen, the Bruno thing is the Bruno thing. Like every single Man United player that we've either promoted or bought in the last 9 years, they've regressed. I honestly think if you put KDB in Man United 2 years ago, by now he'd be unrecognizable. We are crack. You know, if you take crack for 2 years, you don't look the same. That's Man United. Like we're an awful club. It's true, right? KDB has. I was just thinking about it during the game. I've got newfound respect for him. I always respected how good he was. Always. Whether I thought this player or that player was better than him is irrelevant. this is like 8 years now performing at this level, a year or so at Wolfsburg, and then ever since he's been at City. Now, there were some dips in that period, but I rate longevity and I rate consistency of performance. If you're an 8.5 out of 10, 8 years running, I rate that more than being 6.5 out of 10 for most years, but you have 2 years where you're a 10. For me, that consistency is key. And he's just it just gets better and better. He's evolving his position. He's had injuries and he's kind of changed his game slightly, as Lee has mentioned, move further forward, slightly different role. But he has the footballing ability, as I've seen in other Premier League greats, to be able to adapt and move deeper, move further forward, move more inwards over time, which shows you that your actual footballing ability and IQ is of the highest level. And KDB is on his way to being discussed. I don't think he's there yet because Gerrard's and Lampard's and people like this had longer in the game, and for different reasons. In another sort of 4 or 5 years, this guy is going into the greatest midfielders of all time conversation in the Premier League. And look, if City start winning, and I do believe trophies are key, and I can't yield my belief on that, he has to start adding Champions Leagues. If he starts adding Champions Leagues as well, who knows when he starts, he can go into, and it isn't a fight that way to the end of his career, the elite European midfielders as well. I mean, Xavi and Iniesta are going to be, and Scholes are going to be hard to knock off that pedestal, but I think he can start moving towards that. He is just sensational. He really is.
And Liaz, I know when these conversations come up, deep down, we both knew the true answer, but we held on because that's the little bit we had left. It's all gone now. Both sides.
I can't lie though, KJ. I actually wrote off De Bruyne. You might say you were just doing it just to back your boy. I had actually the last 2 years. I'm telling you, with the injuries, I had been someone who thought this might be the end of De Bruyne as an elite level player. I'm very willing to hold my hands up and say I got it completely spot off. He's completely reinvented his game. He's proven me wrong 100%. But in my head, I was looking at De Bruyne. I was like, this guy isn't the same guy. He's not. If you look at his numbers this year, because I was actually looking at it today to compare him to Bruno. He's played about 900 minutes less than Bruno, and he has more goals in the Premier League, the same amount of assists, slightly less chances created. He's completely outplayed him this season in vastly less time. He's having a very underrated season.
He has. Again, this is the thing. Again, I'm not going to go in on Man United players on this stream simply because
it's the Champions League stream, bro. We don't get to do that.
No, I do, but equally on top of that, like it's also our club, it's the management, it's the way we're like. It's not about he's better than so and so. It's just how things are, you know. Steven Gerrard has a massive legacy in the Premier League. It'd be even bigger if he'd have gone to a club that was winning more trophies in its time, because those moments are remembered more. Everybody remembers Liverpool winning the league more than Liverpool coming second. It's just the way that it is, right? So you get these memories. On legacy, though, one debate has been finalised in the last couple of days. Peter Schmeichel is now officially the greatest goalkeeper of all time in the Premier League, the first goalkeeper to be inducted into the Premier League Hall of Fame. So well done, Peter Schmeichel.